Eyewitness Errors by Bo, Paul, Nora, Elizabeth, and Amaya. What is an eyewitness? An eyewitness can be defined as someone who actually sees an act, occurrence, or thing and can give a first-hand account of it. However, in some cases, eyewitness misidentification occurs. As reported by the Innocence Project, eyewitness misidentification is the greatest contributing factor to wrongful convictions proven by DNA testing, playing a role in more than 70% of convictions overturned through DNA testing worldwide.
Own race bias is a specific example that leads to misidentification. Own race bias is the tendency to recognize and differentiate between faces of our own race more easily than faces of another race. Race bias poses problems for eyewitness identification. For example, picking a criminal out of a lineup, because people are less accurate when identifying individual members of another race. In fact, research has shown that when the witness and suspect are of different races, the witness has a 50% chance of making the wrong identification. This phenomenon is probably not due to prejudiced attitudes, but rather to a lack of exposure to people of other races and lack of practice perceiving that race's facial features.
Another example is confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a psychological phenomenon that explains why people tend to seek out information that confirms their existing opinions and overlook or ignore information that refutes their beliefs. Confirmation bias occurs when people filter out potentially useful facts and opinions that don't coincide with their preconceived notions.
So why does eyewitness misidentification occur? A variety of factors affect the ability of a witness to identify the culprit. One factor is the age of the eyewitness. Younger children and elderly people tend to perform worse when identifying the culprit. Characteristics of the event may also cause misidentification. There are 4 factors stated in Macklin and colleagues' 2001 study which involve viewing conditions in recognitions and face. These include exposure time, delay, attention and arousal, and weapon focus.
In detail, the amount of time the culprit is in view. The more time the witness has to study the culprit during the crime, the more likely the witness will be able to identify the culprit later on. The lighting conditions. If it is noticeably dark during the time of the crime, it will most likely be harder to identify the culprit later on. Whether the culprit wears a disguise, simple disguises, even those as minor as covering the hair, result in significant impairment of eyewitness identification. Sunglasses also impair identification. Although the degree of impairment can be reduced by having the targets wear sunglasses at the time of the recognition test, the distinctiveness of the culprit's appearance. Distinctive faces are much more likely to be accurately recognized than non-distinctive faces. Faces that are highly attractive or highly unattractive are easy to recognize than are faces that are average in attractiveness. The presence or absence of a weapon. Weapons draw visual attention away from other things such as the culprit's face. Complicating the issue somewhat is the fact that the presence of weapons or other types of threatening stimuli can cause arousal, fear, and emotional stress. Solution.
The idea is to prevent as much as possible the opportunity for eyewitnesses to make relative judgments. With this sequential technique, the eyewitness sees one lineup member at a time, makes a yes-no decision for each lineup member on first viewing, and is not informed of the total number to be viewed. This procedure forces the eyewitness to compare each lineup member to their recollection of the perpetrator using some absolute standard of recognition rather than considering who looks most like the perpetrator. The end. Thank you for watching.